Hello guys, today's on objection handling. Very simply put guys, this is the easiest thing in the world to do. People give objections too much credit. They're actually good for us. Every salesperson should be happier with an objection than without one. If you're not getting objections, then you've got nothing to close off. If a client says, I'm just going to think about it, it basically gives you no recourse to counteract that objection. But if a client says, I don't know if I trust you guys, then it's a simple question, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what could I possibly do to win your trust? Simple. Let them establish the terms, because it's very impossible, Mr. and Mrs. Client, for me to sit there and go, trust me, I know that doesn't work that way. So there's only a few things I can do. I can send you testimonial videos. I've got some now for you. I can come show you the office to show you that we're physically a company based in Australia. But Mr. Client, it comes down to you. You have your requirement of trust. What do I have to do to achieve that? That's an objection handling, right? You're handling it because you're setting them the terms to understand what it is that will actually win that over. If you say, oh, okay, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, it's useless, right? But if you say, what do I have to do to earn your trust? Then it presents a totally different concept. Generally, objections lead to a deal. Actually, most importantly, they always lead to a deal, right? So it costs too much. Okay, Mr. Client, what's more expensive? Alternate choice close. $800 a month or $220,000 over the course of the next 10 years. Right, so Mr. Client, let's say 2 years' time, it takes you the max amount of time to go into a property through us. You've spent, I don't know, $20,000 with us in fees. If we get you into a property, then you bought a property, all that money goes towards the deposit, which is awesome. So instead, you've actually saved 20 grand off the balance of your property. That's awesome, right? But the option B, do nothing, and then in 20 years' time, have no property, or 10 years' time, have no property, and you spend 220 grand on rent. What's more expensive? The rent or the membership fees? The membership fees. So, Mr. Client, is price your only objection? Because I think we've clarified right now, this is actually a money saving an exercise as opposed to a money costing exercise. Oh yeah, but I can't afford it now. So, Mr. Client, how do you expect to buy a property you're currently paying on rent? $500 a week. What's your price point in the property you wish to purchase? $680. Mr. Client, even at today's cheap interest rates, your payments are going to be an extra $1,000 more a month than you're paying, or $300 more than what you're paying. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is a question you have to understand. Do you really want to buy a property? Because if you can buy a property right now and you can't afford $800 a month to go towards that deposit, then there's nothing to talk about here. Is there any way in your budget that you can find a way to get $800 a month out there? Because you have to also remember, Mr. Client, if you're telling me right now that you can't afford $800 a month, how am I going to trust that I'm going to lend you the deposit for my money? Pause. No, I can definitely afford it. It's going to be a bit of a stretch for me. I understand that, Mr. and Mrs. Client, but currently what you're doing is not helping you buy a property. Is that correct? Yes, it is. So isn't it fair to say that now, if we really want one, that we're going to have to stretch ourselves a little bit? Is that fair? Yes, it is. So, Mr. Client, I come back to the same question. Do you want to buy a property? Right? Do you want to buy one? Yes, I do. So what's getting in your way? Because I know now it's not the price, and I know now it's not affordability. There are two things you've clarified. What's stopping you? Then they'll go either nothing, actually you're right, or they'll go the real outcome. When you finish an objection, when you overcome it from their words, right? If you're overcoming objection by trying to explain your way out of it, then you're going to fail. But if you actually go from their words, what's more expensive, the $220,000 over 10 years or the deposit? I suppose the $220,000, that's their words, right? Alternate choice close. Property costs XYZ. If you can't afford that. Do you really want a property? Yeah, I do want a property. I can't afford it. Okay, it's from their words. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you've told me you can afford it. You've told me it's going to be a money saving exercise as opposed to money costing exercise. So then the question is, what's holding you back from buying a property? Are they going to give you the real objection, or they're going to give you the approval to go ahead? Every objection, you want the ultimate objection. Now, here's the fun fact, the biggest secret of all. You're going to know every single objection you've ever going to hear in your life for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. All objections are the same. They don't change, all right? People's twists on the way the wording changes, everything's the same. So here's my question. If you already know the objections, why aren't you writing it down and presenting the best solution to every single objection? Don't make life hard on yourselves. Be prepared, right? What is it? Failing to plan is planning to fail. Write the objections out. Get them answered. Go out to the market knowing what response is going to be at every single time. Because if you do that properly, guys, every deal will be a deal, right? And always try to handle objections from their mouth. If you explain away, then you're going to fail. If you ask them questions that lead them to that outcome, then you'll succeed. Get them to understand what it is. Why do you feel that's the case, Mr. and Mrs. Clark? What's more expensive, A or B? What stopped you from purchasing property in the past, right? How much are you spending on a week on rent? How long is it going to take? Another one is, what have you got to lose? Money back guarantee, guys. Contractor, come to our office. You'll see it's a physical office in Australia, the ABN. So if we offer you a money back guarantee, here are the terms. We don't abide by that. We're closing down tomorrow, aren't we? Yeah. Now, everything we do, we get this whole service for you, buy your property. Let's say it costs you in payments to us $800 a month. Do you reckon it's worth us compromising all of our licenses, all of our staff, all of our companies on not fulfilling your contract? The terms are quite simple, guys. There's a money back guarantee. If we can't achieve X, Y, Z in that period of time, it's all back to you. What do you got to lose? Now, guys, exercise. I want you all to write down every objection. Collectively, we need to get these objections together. Get them compiled so that we can answer them together and have this list going around the country. All right, guys.